Linda, it was funny. I'm still laughing at that joke about the old lady. Please check my balance. All right. Hello, Eric Soba. Hello, Time for Happy Dancy or Kaz MJ. Oh, I see a lot of the Chicagoans checking in. Hello, Mimi. Hello, Vala, the composer. Hey, man, health and wealth better than health and no wealth. Hey, look, anybody that says money can't buy you happiness just doesn't know where to shop, right? Ballyho in Texas. Good to see you, Chef Melanisa. How are things in the low country? Roger, Half Pint, Camaro Commando, Sven, Taxman, Stevie G. There's Country Chick in Charlotte. How are things on the other side of the pond? Sven, what kind of day are we going to have? A few people down under, heck, you're already into tomorrow. Hello, Jill, or close to it. Trying to keep up. Hey, Trey, I'm going to do my best to bring you in just in time. Hello, Rock. Rock till you drop. Ron. Chris, go lightly. Texas Proud. Uh-oh, Texas Proud said, we'll need to change my name to Florida Proud starting in December. Hey, guys, if you're sitting in any kind of cash position, it's becoming a great buying opportunities in vacation towns as nobody is buying vacation homes or selling them. They're worried about money. Similar to 2008, certain areas of Florida got downright cheap and affordable. Hello, Dick Clark. Hello, Mr. Fausto. Hauser. Hooser. Hellos. Beth. That was, man, if you guys don't, you really should sometime keep an open mind and join us for Whiskey and Wisdom. We really do have a lot of fun. Talk about life, cars, exes, you name it. We have fun. Head, Gumby, Cynthia. I see, Christine from the Angel Warriors Network here. Goldman Keeney coming soon. Praying on it. Now, Christine, I would like to say you guys over there did a great one. Oh, who was that one? It was on a sheriff who left the recorder playing. You guys should go check that one out. That's a great one. I want to say it was Louisiana sheriff. I mean, basically mafia, talking about taking out a hit on somebody. Craziness. Savvy. I remember Mom telling me to get something done before I get knocked into tomorrow. Does that mean a trip to Australia? I guess that could knock you into tomorrow, right? All right. I like the strange sense of humor, folks. Work in Progress says I have to show them the pillowcase. Oh, if you guys did not watch Whiskey and Wisdom last night, Kukla and the community had some fun with me. Created a pillowcase and sent it my way to go with the pajamas. Let me make certain I get this one right. Okay, I'm upside down. So, if you can't tell, this goes with your Sleeping with Mark Z pajamas. Fed Up Patriot, thank you for the super sticker. Mr. Ron Legary, thank you. It says, sleep like a baby with Mark. They even got my sister in on it. That was a picture at my twins' house. Nader, we don't know yet, Kay. We were going back and forth. He is swamped with family, etc. He will, while he is there, come on and join us. We could be getting a call from him. Hoping so. That's right, two Mark Z's. I'm going to have to work with Mike Lindell and come up with some sleepwear, right? Or pillowcases, the dream sheets. BJ, we're going to ask Mr. C about the Chinese elders. All right, it's running quickly, and I haven't even done ads. Let's get to it, guys. The first series of arrests have been made after Iranian schoolgirls were poisoned with chemical and biological attacks. Students experienced numbness, temporary paralysis, near blackouts. Unfortunately, an attack like this could likely strike us here at home in the U.S. anytime now. That's why I highly recommend the Patriot M54 gas mask. Patriot M54 gas mask offers ultimate respiratory and facial protection against the most commonly used chemical agents and attacks, including tear gas, pepper spray, and other toxic gases. I love reminding people of East Palestine. Get the Patriot M54 gas mask for 70% off with free rush shipping, and 100% lifetime replacement guarantee included by going to getamask.com or using the link down below in my description. Also could come in handy if Antifa comes to your town and they start pepper gassing or spraying the streets. You never know when a train's going to derail anymore. Mark, you're on YouTube now. I've still been on YouTube. You just got to come find me. I'm over at the Trolling News Network. Matter of fact, right now there are about 5,000 people over at YouTube watching. Not that they'll update it and tell it when I finish the podcast. I get such a kick out of it because we have what do you call it? Counters, indicators that show where the stream's going and the numbers while it's live and the actual people in each one of those platforms. And it's crazy because I'll show maybe 5,000 on YouTube, 1,500 or something like that, Twitch. It'll show like the different platforms, what's watching. And then you end the program and you go back to YouTube. And it's always a couple thousand less than we're watching that they're giving you credit for. It's the craziest thing. Ads are already done. Well, that means I'm going to squeeze in one last one. It seems that it was disability checks that were higher. I've yet to find one in regular, just Social Security higher so far is what I'm hearing, guys. If you guys are trying to track it, we are trying to make heads and tails of it to find the logic. All right, guys, the third largest bank runs in history happened last month. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits. That means more money printing. Thousands approach Noble Gold Investments, secure their wealth with gold. Gold's the most stable asset outside of government control. Hurry and go to noblegoldinvestments.com or markzeekgold.com. Bag of free 5-ounce America, the beautiful coin if you qualify. markzeekgold.com, markzeekgold.com. All right, ads are over. Does that mean I get to dive in already quickly ahead of time today? Los, you're the first person to comment, so I'm guessing it's just you. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, H-Man, no. Well, I did have a couple of boiled eggs this morning. I don't think you're going to have to worry about a gas mask to watch. Oh, wait. WM Frank, I'm going to be a grandpa. Congratulations. That is awesome. Carla Marie hasn't received anything. Yeah, we'll get to it. Luis just wants to know our news. So, hey, why not? Hello, Eddie Hooper. Let's find the news time banner. And get to it. Oh, we did have some other things. Now, before I start, guys, prayers out there to 50 million Americans under severe threat into the weekend, including back home in the Carolinas towards the over the weekend or early in the weekend. The storms have caused tremendous damage as it is gone through the southern U.S. and now headed to the eastern seaboard. Prayers, guys, just keep it in mind as you're out there in your day-to-day. All right, Nader did indeed. Let me make certain I turn this off so that we don't violate anything. Nader is back on the ground in Iraq, and we may hear from him today. It is fluid. Don't get too upset. He is traveling, just got home. He has got a lot of relatives there, friends, happy to see him. And he shows us his house, his neighborhood. See, you can even go across the street to the station. All right, just wanted to share that one because I know our people are going to be talking about he will be on the ground. We should be able to get some really top-notch reporting out of him this week. Now let's get to the news coming out of Iraq. Government resumption of oil exports in the region with EID and approval of the budget before May. All right, let's say this one again because they have dropped all kinds of disinformation on this front. But if you continue to pay attention, especially to this fellow, it gives you a better idea of what their projected timing seems to be. The government spokesperson, Bassam Alawidi, announced there's a great glimmer of hope to resume the export of oil to the Kurdistan region after the EID Al-Fitr holiday, noting the work is underway to resume oil exports at the earliest possible opportunity. They're saying can take place within days. They have to pass the budget. Let's go back here to the top of this one. Resumption of oil exports in the region after this is the Al-Fitr holiday that they are celebrating now, and the approval of the budget before May. Go back here. Before May. We've seen a lot of disinformation and smoke thrown out there. Pay attention to what they continue to tell you from the government, because then we get our little fluff pieces. They have to do this. They have to keep the timing very, very up in the air. I don't like it. You don't like it. You know what's happening. Just there you go. With BRICS meeting in South Africa and Putin intending to join, can he be the... Daniel, that's a good question. One, thank you very much for that super sticker. What do you guys think? Who's that first big arrest going to be? Was it Trump? Is it a new one? What do you guys think? I do find that one interesting. I'm trying to keep up with you. There is more to go over. Let's talk about more coming out of the government. Again, government advisor expects the dollar exchange rate in the market parallel to the official rate to approach, meaning that the difference on the street and the official rate continues to shrink, meaning the people are adopting the Iraqi dinar instead of the US dollar. This continues to be a reoccurring story we are seeing in the last few days. This is a very positive note coming out of Iraqi news this morning. Yeah, I'm going back and forth, but that's all right. See all of them. All right. I'm reading. Let's turn the banner off while we talk about the bank side. Guys, they're doing a meeting right now. They think they will simply be on call this weekend. I know a number of bond contacts checked in and said bonds go into overdrive over the weekend with their full liquidity expected on Tuesday of the coming week, which means they've got to process all this stuff over the weekend. Hopeful we are going to see great action over the weekend. I don't know if that means we're in or not. We are in the middle of Al-Fitr, the holiday for in Iraq. Their government is clearly telling us before May. To me, it is very clear that they have every intention of doing this thing in the next, how does that work out to, guys? 9 days? They got a lot of work to do, which means we should be able to measure and watch that movement. I'm expecting a pretty fun weekend, guys. That's the damn holiday is EID. It's EID Al-Fitr. You can call it which one you want. We're talking about the same thing. I am reading through KB Watkins. Looks like this is your year. A lot of people, I'm reading some of it. Let's see. I am just stunned at the number of people that get all upset over how you refer to something. It's craziest thing. We have the same meanings, and we let it tear us apart and make us fight. Zero news out of Sheila. That really is what we have. Mr. C should be joining us soon. Let's dive in. All right. Let's keep going. Our interest podcasting Monday. We'll be podcasting on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. Reading a few of these guys, trying to keep up with what you guys have going on. A lot of changes. Katie, we're seeing a lot of stuff. We're seeing a lot of just crazy stuff going on right now. in banking and who's accepting what. M. Miles, thank you very much for that. Starseed volunteering to help. Okay, let's keep running. Amazed? I do. Personally, I think we'll have money before then. Yes. Now, let's keep going with more news. Great book release. They are doing their best to kill this one. Absolutely doing their best to kill this one. Hold the Line book is dropped, or the Convoy book by Tamara Litch, talking about what happened with the Canadian trucker movement. The book released on Amazon. People had not even read the book yet. Wasn't possible to read the book. And the troll army, or the cancel culture group, the government group, whatever you want to call them, the Trudeau lackeys that sit in the rooms, had already given it many, many thumbs down and bad reviews. They talked about how the book wasn't this or that, and they did. They tried to kill the book so that nobody can find it when they go to Amazon, so it doesn't show up in the search engine. They try to manipulate the algorithm. How can you know? Similar to my podcast, guys, will get a number of thumbs, which I think is funny because they quit taking in thumbs down. I mean, down thumbs in the algorithm because of Joe Biden. So all the trolls that pop in there throw the thumbs before the podcast even starts, like within the first 1 minute. It's totally ineffective, but they're still going to log in to do it because, well, they're probably paid and sitting in a room to do it, and they think it somehow affects something, and it doesn't. But this is what they did over at Amazon. They tried to cancel this book so that people wouldn't see it or wouldn't read it to know about the overreaches in the Trudeau government in Canada. Well, Canada, I'm paying attention. Many of your fellow patriots, or whatever you want to call us, here in the States are cheering for you guys. And I'm hoping by sharing this that many folks will take a look and take it seriously so that they can not continue to try to cancel their way out of this and keep people from hearing the truth. All right, now, side note, let's get back into, well, actually not a side note, let's get back into the meat and potatoes. Musk foresees economic storms. Corporate America will need more price cuts. He's doing it as well over earnings, but they're grabbing market share. A textbook example of a well-heeled, well-run company that's worried about their long-term health, not their short-term. Things are getting tight. Money's getting tight. People can't spend as much. They can't afford to pay premiums for EV cars. So what does he do? A series of price cuts so that the consumer can still afford to purchase or to entice them. This has the EV world very upset because he was willing to cut. They're not in the same position. They are overtaxed, over-leveraged, and can't afford to cut the price. They were counting on this push by the Biden administration and the world, the global, climate change people, to push people to buy overpriced goods. And he has continued. He gained market share. So while, yes, his profits are down, his market share is way up, which positions him very well in the future. And he doesn't have the debt service. Just, I'm telling you, really great common sense business. Great admiration for that move. It is a masterful move that will pay off down the road. Gold heist. Thieves make off with $100 million in gold from Canada's largest airport, according to a report. I think that actually came out to like $105 million from an airline cargo earlier this week. Gold from the region being shipped out of Canada. They stole it at the airport. Had to be organized. All right, a couple of great ones from Lou Rockwell for those that want to dive into more of the fundamentals and mechanics of how we got, where we're going, etc. How quickly will the dollar collapse? I don't even know whether to start with this one or how immoral the banking system has made a financial collapse possible. There are absolutely some just humdingers in this one. Assessing the impact of dollar liquidation. We should probably bop up here first and then come down here. We'll do these pretty quickly so that we can get to Mr. C. There are two elements of dollar liquidation to consider, commencing with liquid bank deposits, certificate of deposit, treasury, commercial bills, etc., with maturities of less than 1 year. According to the U.S. Treasury's International Capital Statistics, at the end December, these amounted to basically $7 trillion in credit liabilities due to all foreigners. This is the immediate amount that potentially hangs over the foreign exchange markets. Now, I'm going somewhere with this one, guys. Hang tight on it. At the same time, U.S. residents have liabilities to them in foreign currencies of the equivalent of only 384 billion. The ratio of foreign-owned dollars to the U.S.-owned foreign currency is 18.4 times. Put another way, this is approximate imbalance between potential dollar selling by all foreigners and the ability of U.S. buyers to absorb it by selling their foreign currency in return for dollars. On the face of it, this differential could fuel a rapid fall in the dollar's exchange rate against foreign currencies. All right, this is a huge imbalance. So what I'm telling you is by us holding foreign currency, we're helping the rest of America, because when the dollar comes rushing home, it loses value, but we're holding these foreign currencies in countries that are strong in commodities. This is a very good thing economically for the country, phenomenal thing for us economically, and really good for the country. I thought I would point that one out. Some great stuff from Lowell Rockwell. On side note, New York City will track carbon footprint of residents' food purchases. Mayor says we got to cut it by 2030. We got to cut the reduced food consumption in New York by 33% by 2030. How can we do this? So we're going to cut down on waste, smaller portion sizes, more responsible food. They said, we always focus on emissions of cars, but not on the emissions of cows, according to the mayor's office. Now, don't get me wrong. America could use a diet. We overeat. Do you want them telling you got to cut your food consumption by 33%? Tell that to the starving person on the corner that can't cut by 33%. So then you're going to turn around and tell the person that can't afford to eat because he's been working their whole life, or she spent extra time in school getting an extra degree or whatever, that they're going to need to eat considerably less so that the person that's over here doesn't have to eat less because they want it, an aggregate reduction of 33%. So you're going to be cutting back a lot, like half your food. Buckle up, kids. Robert F. Kennedy, RFK Jr., tells Deep State nice try as a fire alarm interrupts his presidential announcement. He was speaking out against the military-industrial complex. He was speaking out against the war in Ukraine, how it was built as humanitarian, but it is anything but. Now, this gets even more interesting. This is shades of John F. Kennedy, of JFK in here. He emphasized and concluded that the function of the intelligence agencies have become to provide the military-industrial complex with a constant pipeline of war. Watch this. Earlier in a speech, Kennedy spoke about his uncle JFK's vowing to take the CIA and shatter it into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the wind after the disastrous Bay of Pigs incidents. Guys, he is declaring war on the CIA. He is declaring war on the medical cartels. He is declaring war on the corpocracy in this campaign. This is going to get interesting. How do you like this tweet? Too many Americans believe that we are losing our republic to a brand of corporate feudalism or a corporate kleptocracy. I don't think it's that we believe. I think we have direct and provable evidence thereof. Watch this one. I think this one is going to shake things up. Some probably very necessary conversations are going to be had. House Democrat threatens Twitter files journalist with prosecution and imprisonment. What? For telling the truth. Matt Taibbi gets in trouble for telling the truth. He did mess up one time and said CIS instead of CISA under oath, but corrected himself. And she was like, there, you're lying to Congress. Because you were trying to fool us. And no, he corrected himself. He just simply, you get used to saying acronym after acronym after acronym. Occasionally you get them wrong. So there's Matt Taibbi. This is the war. This is the Democrats trying to shut people up. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Republicans doing the same thing, going after everybody if you disagree with the corporate world. That's the death of journalism. Journalism is supposed to question. And when they stop questioning, they no longer serve a purpose or a benefit to society. A Budweiser ad parody, guys. This one's hilarious. I wish I could play it without getting a violation for you. I'm going to include it in there. A fantastic Tucker on Robert F. Kennedy and censorship and on the Ukrainian war and their take on it. Found it very interesting. Very, very, very interesting one. Probably one of the best Tuckers in a while, because it points out how they did have secret biolabs, how they told us they didn't, and then they admitted that they did. And we find more documentation. And now we find out that we have state secrets on nuclear technology that's now in the hand of the Russians, because we were deploying it in the Ukraine. This is a great Tucker. All right, now I'm ready for you, Mr. C. We're going to talk Chinese elders. Valerie, thank you very much for that super sticker. Contessa, thank you for that super sticker. Yeah, white hats pull off the Band-Aid. I'm with you. I'm done with the Band-Aid. Remind me, I've got to, yeah, journalism died years ago, and the Democratic Party finished dying in 2020. It no longer represents a progressive, a liberal. It represents some kind of woke corporate ideology. Mr. C, I should give you a warning. We're on the backup channel, so don't call anybody to arms, and don't string anybody up. When you get mad at them, just say salt, salt, salt. All right. Hello, Mr. C.
Well, good morning. Well, I'm trying to keep it benign tonight, non-accusatory, said that way. I don't really have any major upsets to talk about today, so that's pretty good. It's been an interesting week, but it has been interesting to see what's been going on. I noticed one thing off the bat here, that apparently those that are supporting Mr. Fulford are trying to get us into a fight, which I'm not going to play because I'm just tired of it. It's been, 20-some years. I could care. But I'm not saying anything harmful or anti-Fulford, so I don't know where that's coming from. But I do find it interesting that he has been reporting some very interesting stuff, which I will give him credit for. One, the Ukrainian scenario is almost over, which I think is great. Putin apparently has won, obviously, and I really think that it's a good thing. The Azov Hitlerites gone for the most part. I find it interesting, his comments, Fulford's comments about Macron going to China to try to make a deal with China. They could out of the bullseye. The yuan gold petrodollars back is gone forward. I think that's great. NATO is disintegrating. Even today, there's stories about NATO going bananas, literally over the supersonic, hypersonic weaponry that's pointed their way. And Biden pouting and whatever in Ireland, waiting for King Charles to finance his paycheck, which I find really, really interesting. And I actually am kind of surprised that the king has decided that he's not going to play that game because, well, the Interpol guys are very, very sneaky. They can, by the way, still put shackles on him. So it's very interesting to me. And since China Cathay Bank has turned over all their documents without a subpoena about the Biden enterprises, which is really money laundering, I think that is extremely good. So all in all, I'm very confident this thing is going to come to a close relatively quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, to me, it's all come to that culmination of events, the perfect storm. It's been brewing entirely too long, though. Got a lot of folks asking questions like, who the heck are the Chinese elders? Those, I know that's probably not what you expected today. I should have given you some warning, and I know you've covered it in the past, but we continue to get so many new people. Hopefully, yeah. They're telling me to touch my nose if you've been paid.
If I've been paid, I'd be much happier right now, I will tell you. Not that we're hurting, but it's just a matter of that, I would love to have this thing over with. It's a drag on my head. And since, I must say, I was commenting to one of the guys this morning that the mini stroke that I had seemed to have sacked away or sucked out my drive, which I feel like I went 3 steps forward and 2.5 steps backwards. And that is common after a stroke when I knew that, and it takes a while to recover, but it's really a pain in the butt. So one of the things that I'm just not geared up to fight a lot of fights. Where I just don't feel that. But the whole thing about the situation with the Chinese elders, that's it's part of the book that I want to do. And I'm trying to get back to it, in that to explain how this thing started with Sun Yat-sen and the freedom of China, the demise of the CCP after. Now, Sun Yat-sen was a very interesting guy who really thought that China should be free like American freedom. And he always ran up against those who had more money and more power. And Mao was one of them, who was siphoning off money from the Soviet Union. But the elders came about because each of the gangs had their own person in charge. The purple gang, the green gang, the yellow gang, and out of Shanghai, which was the center. And they all had a headman boss. One of those guys was Chiang Kai-shek, by the way, who later became, through his own avenues with Sun Yat-sen, became the chief of the military and then became president of the Free China. Unfortunately, the Mao had already struck up his method of operation throughout China by pretty much educating the people that the only way you can get ahead is to get rid of these guys over you. And we're much like what we're hearing today. And so what happened is that eventually they became dragons. Now, there are 5 major families who control banking. The primary one being the Soon family, which is financing both sides of the Chinese situation. They have decided 70-some years ago, virtually after Truman told them, Chiang Kai-shek, to get lost, we're not going to give you any more money. And so they decided they were going to have an end to the situation because they were lied to. The bankers out of ABN AMRO and other banks, Deutsche Bank, Postal Bank, were all using the precious metals in the 1931 silver dollars as much as they could in their little precious boxes to finance their own operations for the G7, etc. And they were just giving the Chinese pennies of anything. Mostly it was just bribes to shut up. So the dragons became very important to lead the way. And the golden dragon is the one who signed in blood for control over the gold that's going to be used to finance the revaluation. Not the GCR, but the revaluation. And that is those are the codes I'm going to get to finance and release to the new Republic Treasury, and to allow all the signatories, and many more obviously, of the sovereign nations to become gold-backed currencies on a parity basis, which will lead to all the derivatives being taken off the books around the world, which will lead to an instant jubilee, debt jubilee around the world. And that's all institutional debt forgiven or gone away. Basic is not forgiven because it's all based on fraud, but it's just gone away. The elders, there were actually, I think, 2 sets of elders, frankly. Those that are young, upcoming, who want to get paid, who are willing to do it the right way, and those who are schooled in the old way and who will do whatever they can to get paid, regardless of what the outcome is around the world. And that's what happened in 2019. They had a meeting with Trump and the generals, U.S. generals, Chinese generals, etc., and the White Dragon elders in Hunting Valley, just outside Cleveland, July, I think it was 12th, 2019, where a fake Mike Cottrell was given 50 bags of gold dust and $4.5 trillion gold certificate. It was made on my name. Obviously, it wasn't me because I didn't get paid. So that was on a Friday night. By Sunday night, the Interpol guys stopped this transaction, froze the gold certificate and the custodial receipts for the 50 bags of gold dust. I'm sorry, 11 bags of gold dust, $50 billion. My apologies. A little tiring to go through all this, but we'll get to the right things. And eventually what happened was the Interpol stopped that. The premise was that was the release of the gold codes for the gold treaty. That was not the case. And so everybody was unhappy and went away. But as a result of that, I submitted 300 documents to Trump for verification, authentication, and that came back as verified that I was the right person with the right stuff. And the Chinese Golden Dragon recut the gold certificate to $7 trillion, and we're still waiting for that to be paid. That's a long answer, I'm sorry, but that gives you an idea of what the Golden Dragon, the Chinese elders were about.
Oh, that's a solid one. I'm having, and somebody mods or somebody asked me, I've not seen any post by Mike Barra in there at all. Mr. C, a lot of folks are saying, all right, what's the role of certain things in here? You know, what's the role of the bondholders? Where do bonds fit in this thing, or those historic ones? That's one of the questions I'm getting. And then the reoccurring course is, you know, when did you become a Mason? How long have you been a Mason?
They don't like me. Masons, I'll tell you honestly, I had really given thought to becoming a Mason, but as I met people who were Masons, and I will tell you in 2007, when I was in New York with Leo and Tom Melville and a few other people, I realized that Paulson was a big Mason. I mean, and various other peoples who were on the bad side, who were rats. And I decided then and there I was not going to be a Mason. But I've never been asked, primarily because I won't take a deal. I won't make a deal. I won't shade the truth. And I won't suck up to anybody. So, no.
Yeah, and yeah, so much of this back and forth, guys. I mean, it's an active effort to sow discontent in our community. Not when I say ours, I mean in the whole truther side of this thing, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or whatever, just people trying to find the truth. They're trying to turn one against the other. They're sowing these little pieces in there. You can choose to bite on it. I mean, they're literally playing people like a fiddle. You can choose to get butthurt over this or that, or you've heard somebody's this, when 99.999% of the time it's total BS. It's a divide and conquer, and everybody keeps buying. Well, not everybody, too many keep buying it. I would like to say that you have weak minds if you don't think first. All right.
I will say this. Excuse me, Mark. I will say this. Every time we get close to this thing happening, they pull out the long knives and they come after me because I'm the only one that's telling the truth, apparently, or at least I have documents to back it up. And they do not like that. The other aspect of this is we have cornered the banks and the federal government in a multi-trillion-dollar scam where they've ripped off many, many, many investors in gold and government-backed securities, and they are now in a very small place, and there's no place to go except capitulate, and they are very, very, very angry at my participation in that lawsuit.
Well, let's see a lot on Trump and what Mike. Guys, if you've been paying attention to me this week, you'll know that I told you guys that Trump's plane was in D.C. Sunday while the Iraqi leaders were still there. He showed up there a day or two later during the protected space and airspace in Reno, the VIP movement. He showed up there. We confirmed it. We confirmed it through eyes on the ground. And also through flight logs. We mentioned that earlier this week. This isn't new news you guys are posting in here. We already confirmed that this week. You just probably weren't here when we did it, or maybe you were chatting with somebody else. Just thought I would point that one out. All right, now back to that bond question if you want to tackle it.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, because I was going to go right there. There were 3 levels. Multi-levels, not what do you call them? Fudge. What was the term out of Reno, Mark? that everybody's talking about. Not tiers, is it tiers?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they call everything tiers,
Okay.
and I hate that they
Okay.
do that because people get so uptight about exactly how they think things
No.
are supposed to play out.
When the way this started was that there were levels. First, there were government levels for the Gold Treaty. Then there were institutional levels of peoples who have been defrauded, etc. And then there were folks who were in the prosperity programs and the forfeiting operations that were to be paid. So it was 1, 2, 3. Chris Story went into that in detail, and he had a lot more knowledge about it than I did because he had international sources through his activities, which were much more extensive than I ever knew about when Chris was alive. But anyway, there were 3 levels. I was the tail end. I am the tail end of the 3rd level. And that's why I was to get the codes that's written into the Gold Treaty. When I get the codes, everybody gets paid across the board, everybody. And that was the big thing about CKMX, because they took CKMXers right at the same level as me. Because when Al and I were talking about this, they made sure that we were not recapitalizing the rats, which would have happened had CKMX been paid in 05, 6, and 7. It would just recapitalize everybody. So they made sure that, and also too, the government, quote unquote, corporation, USA Inc., was using that money in trust as much as they were not supposed to. They did, and they are, until they ran out. But so what they did is they slapped inside the protocols of the Gold Treaty to make sure that everybody's paid at the same time with gold-backed currency. So now bonds, that's a whole different category. That's like level 2. And that was all the old Chinese railroad construction bonds back in the 1800s all the way through the early 1900s, when they were contributing massive amounts of monies for the development of intercontinental railroads. But they were not allowed to be paid. If you go back in history, in the 1870s, 1880s, there were laws about paying money to the Chinese, who were considered to be less than human at that time, even by Americans, and especially by politicians and those involved in the railroads. So they would take their money, but they wouldn't pay them back. So that's why the bonds are being paid first. And it's fun. But as things develop since 2013, we have noticed this, that if anyone is paid real cash with economic receipt prior to the Gold Treaty being implemented, you are recapitalizing the rats. They are that desperate. Therefore, they made sure in the protocols that everybody is paid at the same time with economic receipt. That means you can use the monies, that includes the bondholders, at the same time I put the codes in. So we're all into the same level.
Breakaway, we already did. He talked about it earlier in the podcast about the whole Fulford thing, but already being addressed. Let's see. UFO Wisconsin is asking a good one. How did CMKX get tangled up in this rock tumbler coincidence? And that brings me back, of course, to Mr. Mayhew's organization, Global Research, Global Intelligence. I'll just let you tackle this one. You're going to do a much more eloquent job than I can.
Well, I wasn't involved in that stuff at the time, so I have this by, what shall I say, hearsay, more or less, from Sheila and various other people who were involved. CK and you and, my goodness, Bob and various other people who were CKMXers. I was basically told not to be involved in it. And that's quite all right with me. We just seem to be realigned. Al came to me through Chris' story because I was exploding about senior siphoning off the CKMX monies out of Texas. And so I think I did it with an affidavit to Chris, if I'm not mistaken. But it's in Chris's articles. So Al called me and we started talking about this. And we started talking about the level of corruption in the whole operation. And he started telling me about various things that Mayhew was doing. If you go back into the books that are out there, Mayhew was involved with a lot of these things that were going on. he was for some time working with the CIA on the inside because of I forget his name, from Hughes. So that was all well and good, but I think what really took the cake with Mr. Mayhew was the CKMX fraud that was so pervasive that even the board members of the Securities and Exchange Commission were actively involved in taking bribes and making money. It was illegal, felonious shares of CKMX in the trillions of shares that did not exist. And so he tricked them, got them cornered, and basically got them to go on the knees and say, okay, fine, here's the trust, here's your repayment. I got involved only because of my situation with Bush Sr. when he stole my companies, my signature, and everything, and amassed $300 trillion and placed it in a NATO-HCL account in Europe. And in November 9th, 2011, Interpol tried to move the money to the States, to one of the accounts I had, so that we would be just redispersing the money back to the G7 states, G7 countries that he stole the money from, plus all of my money. And when it got to Chase Manhattan and Chase Bank in New York, Senior as well as Bill Clinton redispersed it. So they came to me and said, this is what happened. They stole all your monies. They stole your companies. They stole your name and your signature. And this is what Bush Sr. was doing. And this is what you're going to get back. I said, okay, fine. But in the meantime, I was just more or less a patsy in a beard for Senior. So what they did at that time is they said, okay, fine. What we're going to do is we're going to make this global. And they made sure that the CKMX operation, even before them, but basically in the Gold Treaty, which is 2013, they made sure that the Gold Treaty had everybody at a level payment structure, so that when I got the codes and put them in, everybody, including CMCAX, got their gold-backed currency.
Mr. May, people may not understand exactly some of that history. May's father was also in intelligence. His son followed suit running the company, but his father was the key advisor to John F. Kennedy during the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. He is the one saying, hey, they're lying to you. Your intelligence community is lying to you. Do not push the button. They want war. The Mayhew, I mean, there is some tremendous, what they have done for America, the world, is pretty astounding. It's been a very tough, long battle. Just a little more background for folks.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was looking for, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right.
But I thought it was very interesting. And, you know, I got involved. This was long before I was told. I suspected that they had stolen my companies because of my ex-partner in the broker-dealer Niagara Securities, Marquis Reynolds, out of Greenville, North Carolina. But I thought, well, you know, I haven't got paid. I haven't taken a dime from them, so I don't care. You know, eventually the truth will come out, and eventually I assume I'll get paid. But then I started talking to Al, and then we started figuring out what was going on. And thankfully, Al had some very great contacts, and that's how we got the affidavits to the Queen, to the Duke of Edinburgh, to the Queen, and then that went to the World Court because she used them in her defense in 2011, and that brought the whole the actual beginnings of the Gold Treaty. Because all the pieces started fitting together at that point, and they picked up my proposal that I had submitted to the Queen at that time, because we had there's another avenue to this whole thing, and it's called Delmarva Timber Trust, which was an amalgamation of efforts between two old OSS fighters, William Casey, and then Owen Meadows. Owen Meadows was brought in 1950-51 to manage monies to help rebuild Europe, because Eisenhower did not trust anybody, because At the time, Truman went, before Eisenhower became president, Truman dissolved the OSS. 100,000 agents were dispersed. Most of them went to the State Department, which explains why deep state is State Department. And a lot of them also became other things, OPC and blah, 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 which eventually became the CIA. Eisenhower did not trust them. He saw what they did during World War II. He was not impressed. And he thought that, in fact, he had General Beadle Smith operating the CIA for a while under, I think it was CPU. And he did not trust them. So when this money came into being, the discovery of this money, the old Morgenthau Trust, which financed the gold, etc., to the Chinese, to Chiang Kai-shek, he said, wait a minute, so he brought in somebody he trusted, Owen Meadows, a farmer from South Florida, came back in, guy's amazing guy, just amazing guy, very, very smart. And so they ran the money, and he became the operations guy for the CIA. He is the one that financed them. And there was a fight between basically Meadows and Casey versus Casey and Senior. Essentially, Casey was not a disciple of Senior, but eventually Senior got, which eventually happened to everybody, Senior put the screws to him and got him up against the wall, and eventually Senior merged the Casey monies in the Barbara Trust, or the Barbara Bush Library and Fund out of Vancouver. Okay, in Seattle. So, long story short, sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's so easy to go into the rabbit holes here because it's all connected. And as the pieces came together, we realized that the only way to fight this was to have a solid front, which I am very, very happy that Mayhew did this, because otherwise, we never would have gotten this far. The Interpol operation was investigating this operation since 1972. I mean, they just couldn't get a hold because the financial arm of this under Bush Senior was held by Americans who were all corrupt, and they could not find a way to get in and get to the actual how money was made. If anybody who recalls the forfeiting contracts of the prosperity programs, you know that you were putting your money into an aggregate, going into banks, doing a special offshore contract, and that contract was not obligated, was not enforced by U.S. laws. It was all offshore, and the money disappeared. And that's what they couldn't figure out how it worked. And until I started up writing with Chris Story, explaining forfeiting. So, long story, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Well, people need to understand this stuff, how it started, because we have come so far in 33 years. It's amazing. We're talking about centuries of operations that amalgamated basically under Rothschild and Senior. And we're now ready to put them under the guillotine and chop their heads off, which is really exciting.
All right. That's code for salt, guys.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Two things. Turd Ferguson, a lot of people. It's interesting how the algorithm works, or the algorithm tools, or the control tools that YouTube has, because they can leave you visible on much of YouTube, but one channel you can be seen, one channel you can't be. I mean, the level of control they have, and my guess is the people that they do that to dropped entirely too much truth in that room one time, two times, or whatever. So they hide them in that room. But in order to fool you into thinking that it's not them doing anything, they leave you visible on others. I don't know if that's to sow dissent towards that channel, or they're truly terrified of what you said. I can't quite figure that one out. Briefcase asking, do you have a vault of truth tucked away just in case? Have you sequestered any of this information somewhere else in case they come burn down Mr. C's house?
Absolutely, yes. I learned that a long time ago, but I've been told by the Interpol guys that where I'm in this little house that I constantly am fixing, driving me nuts. I'm safe here. because I'm surrounded by some very good people, armed people, and they know pretty much what I've been doing for the last 30-some years. And we've been here, oh, goodness gracious, 41 years we've been here. So I'm safe with where I'm located. And that's what I've been trying to do with the book, Mark, is to put things that I know that I really can't put out there and put it in a sequential written synopsis, more or less, with backup documentation that people can check. I found out a long time ago, working with, oh Lord, working with various people, that you can't throw too much on the table because they will shut you down or they will come after you. But when I did my thesis, I was told by the Admiral that I became an untouchable because it was published. I remember talking to people like Peter Kenny and whatnot overseas, what they call the Irish Mafia, which were really Australians working out of Ireland, that this is all highly classified information, that you can't talk about on the phone. I said, hey guys, this is part of the Series 24, Series 27, Series 7, and Series 6 of the SEC rules and regs. Tell me that's classified? Get out of here. You learn it. If you know insurance business, you know corporation business, you know how corporations run, and you know business, it's easy to figure out. And it's just that, they didn't want anybody to know. So they hid it. And it's, but that information, that's why I wrote the thesis, not so much to stab anybody in the back, but basically I was being told left and right by people in the school, or the university where I went, that had the Heibel, Richard Heibel, I believe his name is, who was the deputy chief of counterterrorism for the FBI for DC. He came back to Erie, his wife is from here, and he started setting up this master's program. And he recruited me. And I was looking at it because I was telling things that even he was shocked at, that he did not know. And it was driving him nuts. So he wanted me to come in and tell him what was going on. So they gave me free access to LexisNexis, which allowed me to compile data on 2,000 to 5,000 corporations worldwide, and how this thing became realized, and the modus operandi of the senior operation. That plus what I did with Delmarva Timber Trust and with Wilcox and a few others. So it's really interesting how this all happened. But really what we're getting to is what I'm trying to do with the book. And it's like encapsulate 30-some years of experiences, actual experiences, into a written form that people can digest. And the thesis was my first stab at it. And it's dry. I've been told it's very dry. And yes, it is. It was written to be academics, because I had people telling me I was a fool to write about elitism in capital markets. And I said, well, this is crazy, because it's really not a big deal. It's reality. So anyway.
A couple of things on that one. One, are you familiar with Operation Sandman? And then I got to wrap you up pretty quickly. Go ahead.
No, I'm not.
Operation Sandman is an operation. There's been between Freedom of Information, leaks, etc., where the African nations are prepared to go the way of BRICS in mass, where they all dump their U.S. They de-dollarize and then all dump any U.S. Whether dollars, whether bonds, whether treasuries, all at the same time, to tear down the fiat currency. And they do. You can see like a lockstep movement in leadership in Africa. Matter of fact, majority of African leaders met in Russia last month. It's coming. They keep telling their people, de-dollarize, or you're going to be stuck holding the bag. And somebody just mentioned, where does Operation Sandman fit into this? I think it's one of many fail-safe switches to force things to go, no matter how hard the rats fight.
Well, excuse me, Mark, but that goes back to the Gold Treaty and the Moscow Agreement of 2013. which was, I believe, reinforced 21 March 2023 when Xi went to Putin, met with Putin again. It's all that's all part of the protocols of the Gold Treaty. And the Moscow Agreement is that we can do anything and everything necessary to collapse the corporation and get rid of the fiat dollar. So yeah, it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's going to happen no matter what, guys. No matter how ugly it has to look, it's going to happen. We're going to get sound money. All right, Mr. C, I need to wrap you up and toss you out on your ear before you stay too long.
Well, I'm sorry I talk so much.
Oh, no. It was a fantastic Friday for us with a lot of information and history.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and let's hope we get paid this weekend. And I shall see you next week.
Sounds good.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, we will talk about that. I know you were traveling.
Yeah, I'm still planning on being here and doing one from hotel room Friday morning, but I'll touch base with you.
Fine.
All right, I'll touch base with you.
Thank you much. Take care, everybody.
Thanks. All right, guys. Happy birthday to grandson Naman Jr. Ellen Nolani. We got a few birthdays today. Happy birthday to you guys. Do I need to be singing? Tomorrow's my 17th wedding anniversary. Coincidence? Please ask if this makes me a conspiracy theorist. It probably will be an expensive weekend. That's going to put you right over the top, Tommy. Some card company sold you the bill that you got to spend a fortune for anniversaries instead of just acknowledging it, enjoying time together, right? Michael, Mr. C has not finished that book yet. We don't know what the title is going to be. He has been working on it for years. He almost needs to do it more like a trilogy or something because of the amount of information in it. Happy birthday to everyone celebrating. All right, I guess I got to do it. Let's see. Delaney, granddaughter's 21st. What a big one. Is a big one. Let's see. Happy birthday to all celebrating. I guess I'm going to do it, guys. If you need to plug your ears, plug your ears. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, Jay, I'm glad I saw your post in here. Let me copy this so I have it. I forgot to point out one thing here. I am extrememaga.com. Collecting videos to do a collage. We are looking for folks in the real world, whether you are a dentist, a trucker, a bagging clerk at the grocery store, anything, farmers. Perhaps you're even a registered Democrat or something. We are looking for people to say, hey, I'm whatever, a little background, and say, but I am also MAGA because I want to make America great. So we are looking for, wait, I got to turn Matt off. His volume's there. You can upload things here. Here's the home. I am extrememaga.com. We talk about the movie. You can upload yours here. You use it through Twitter. There are directions on how to do it. We want to offset the notion that these are all extreme or crazy people. If you work in a food bank, you volunteer your time, you help others, you're a caretaker. We want to hear your story. A little short, 30 seconds, no more than 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're trying to put it together and working with a filmmaker that's editing it. And Jay and Tammy are just awesome. Creamy and frozen custard. Happy birthday. All right. Now I'm ready for Matt. And is Lucas going to call us, Matt, or is it just you today?
Oh, he's calling in. I was just on the phone with him. He's calling right now. I think he is. I told him to.
All right. I'm going to keep an eye on the phone.
Hey, so how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself? I got him to squeeze in a little time last night, even though he just lost. Oh, there he is. Hold on. Now we got the band back together.
Yeah.
Hey.
Sure. Hey. Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no, it's perfect timing here. It's perfect timing. Matt, do you want to start? Although Katie wants to point out, Matt, we're going to need a few more squirrel stories. We're going to need to know what they've been up to at some point before you get out of here today, or just let us know and be prepared for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll check them out later today. Yesterday when I got home, I mean, I've been looking at them lately. They're running around. It seems like they're getting more out of the yard, running all over the joint, but they're still hanging around. I was in a store the other day and they actually have squirrel feed. I had no idea, so I might even get some of that, and start, just having, feeding them back there and becoming friends with them, and then I'll have my wife film it or something like that. I mean, I just thought that up just right there. So.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
No, but anyway, hey, yeah, so I got home last night, and as soon as I walked in the door, I hit the couch. I think I was sleeping, and I think I woke up. I don't know, it must have been about a half hour after your guys' show was done for sure. And yeah, I was sleeping through the whole thing. I felt great, though. I feel really nice today, nice and refreshed. But hey, this is Matt. I'll just tell them who we are, Mark, in case there's any new people on the network here. Hey, this is Matt with CBDGurus.com. And if you want to order, you go to Mark C. Wholesale, and then you put in the code word lowercase. Is that me making that noise? Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But go ahead.
It's not me. But anyways, it must be Lucasfilm, the Ford or something. I don't know. And then, so you put in lowercase KRAM CBD. And then the specials for the week are the same one that have been running all week. The only thing difference we have today, I'm going to redo the specials for tomorrow morning. I'm just waiting for a couple of products to show up today to make sure we can do what I was going to do. But we got an added immunity at $100, so that's a $15 item. Plus we got the freebie lotion at $100. We got all the currencies we're giving out. But when you get into the specials, you can see them all. There's a bunch of stuff. And yeah, just take it from there. So any questions, Mark? Or
well, one, trying to keep up with chat over there. Don't know if you are watching those. Let's see. Winter chocolates back in stock, and of course, we're going to need another update. Lucas, you gave us an update last night, but Whiskey and Wisdom, while it is awesome, it's amazing, and it's a good time. Not as many people watch, so they need to ask you about Lion's Mane and that update.
Yeah. So kind of like just kind of reiterating what we went over last night with, it's just been super difficult to find really good extract. But we did actually get some. We're planning on making some more, looks like Wednesday of next week. So probably it will be on the site is what we're thinking, roughly around like May 10th or before.
So that's your update on that one. Now, guys, chocolates and we're getting ready to get into the hot season. So, you probably won't ship chocolates soon.
Excuse me. We got, the chocolates are in stock right now. Hold on a second. Oh my God. But anyway.
Yeah, the chocolates are in stock, but, probably like late May is when we'll probably stop shipping chocolates.
Yeah, I would, like second week of May or so, depending on whether we get nailed with heat waves after this dragging winter that just keeps giving more love throughout the country with more snow. I mean, late April, and we're still getting snow all over the country.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, the chocolates, you guys, go into chocolates, the Delta 9 chocolates, the dark chocolate and the milk chocolates. Yeah, they're available right now. And you get 10 of them for $35. So yeah, we got them for sure. Just order them up. And the Delta 8's out of stock though for right now.
Oh, the Delta 8s are, but the Delta 9 is in stock.
Yeah, you bet. Yep.
All right. Now I'm going back and resetting my spot there. Let's see. Do you all know you? Oh wait, spot you my Dr. Code 3. Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting. Somebody just pointed out, totally not related to you, but Lori Logan, she can't get prescriptions or particular ones because they are low on inventory, and they've had to call different pharmacies trying to find them. That's a scary thought, guys. That could have health implications, especially in a highly medicated country. We've been waiting for that because China controls if they don't directly make many of the pharmaceuticals, they control the ingredients that are necessary to make them. Let's see. Oh, yeah. See, I like eating squirrels. They're tasty, but you should. Now, Matt, I'm thinking what we do in your backyard, we create like a squirrel obstacle course that's just like, it's got its own like squirrel house, right? With little ropes and beams. And we put cameras on it so people can go to like the squirrel cams, 24/7, automate the whole thing. And then if they do like a super chat, 50 cents or something, then the squirrel feeder buzzes and turns on. We automate the whole thing just so we can keep up with your squirrels, and then everybody else can name them.
Yeah, I'll do it. I got to have somebody set up the camera or whatever, but I'll have a 24-hour squirrel video deal going. And every once in a while, I'll pop back there and feed them and stuff. And I'll try to talk somebody into making an obstacle course, because I just don't have time besides putting up a piece of plywood on a block or something.
That might be fun. We can probably get a few handy construction people from the podcast to come help. We'll have a weekend at Matt's.
Yeah. Hey, why not? But yeah. So I like the animals for sure. And we got our pet treats. Yeah, I'll give them some of those pet treats too. Squirrel food.
Pete is going to come knock on you. Hey, it's all natural and healthy, right? Johnny just said, hey, what of your CBD products helps with anxiety? Again, asked that question last week, but unless you're writing it down. So can you touch, Lucas, on what helps with anxiety?
Yeah. So, and granted, there's a lot of factors. We got to realize this. There's a lot of factors that come into play with anxiety, and every person's chemistry is different. So things that I like really well are Delta 8 for me, and as well as the mushroom gummies. So there's a lot of research out there with lion's mane and really kind of that anxiety and stress relief that we'll have back in stock. The Delta 8 as a THC works really well for me, but you also have to understand that, and a lot of people love the Delta 9. So like the water soluble is really fast acting, but some people, if you're already like super anxious and paranoid, the Delta 9 may make it worse. So it really depends on you, but the mushroom, as well as, and honestly, a lot of people really like the black seed oil to help for anxiety as well. So the Miracle Gold, but it really just depends. I would try in lower dosages, 2 or 3 products. Like I would get the if you want to venture into the Delta world, get into the smaller dose, the 10 milligram D8 gummies. Even take a half of one of those. And then like an hour later, if you feel, better, then take the other half. And always start small. Don't go crazy and do a massive dose. It may work, but it may make it work. So I know that's kind of a horrible way to attack it, Mark, but the problem is with THCs is that, people's chemistry and kind of composition, not only physically, but also, psychologically, makes a huge difference as to how it affects our bodies.
Oh, absolutely.
And our minds.
And when in doubt, ask your open-minded doctor for suggestions too. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Lucas was saying. We got something, it's about the 7th item down on the specials. It's called, it's called Matt's favorite. There we go. Delta 9 1 milligram THC. I would recommend that for pretty much any anxiety I've had in my whole life, truthfully, right there. Because you have one, you can feel it a little bit. If you want to take another one, they're only 1 milligram, and then it might put you to the perfect spot. Like maybe if that guy was going on a date for the first time with the gal, or he was in college and he had to give a speech or something, or just showing up in the morning without showering. And you're around people and you wonder if you have body odor or whatever. Just take one of them and don't even worry about it, man. Don't worry about any anxiety. Just take one of those and you'll be all right. What do you think, Lucas?
No, I forgot about the 1 milligrams. The 1 milligrams is a super a small dose. So
I had
that
one
actually
yesterday.
would be good to dose. Yeah.
I mean,
I had one
yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I had one yesterday before I went shopping. But sometimes when I'm in the grocery store, I encounter some what I consider weirdos, So I wanted to be ready for it. Just you never know what's going to encounter,
Diane asking, what helps with restless leg syndrome? That's a good question to ask the community. What have you guys tried for? Have you tried any of their products for restless leg syndrome? I would think anything that slows that nerve firing, like a D9 or something, might help. What do you think, Matt, Lucas?
I think any CBD would work for that, especially me. I'm just sitting there moving my legs right now. It's like, what, are you got a camera on me? I got the restless leg going right now, but yeah, I don't know, Lucas, you know that stuff better than me.
Yeah, I would, I'm trying to think with the restless leg,
little lotion.
And I hate to, no, I think it's going to be more of the THCs, more of the full spectrum, whether it be like the 14,000 full spec tinctures or the super full spec gummies. The D9 is going to be pretty prominent in helping kind of relieve that. But of course, guys, now understand that with any of these things, really consult with your doctor. Understand that, that them being able to work with you not only on what, which deltas to take, but also on the dosages. Because that the dosages are going to be as important, if not more important, than what you're actually taking as well.
Can we squeeze in another question on you guys?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Katie's asking products for ADHD that don't induce or increase anxiety. And a lot of that's going to depend on your psychology and biology, but your thoughts, what helps some of you guys? I know the Lion's Mane helps a lot of people that have attention deficit going on. And guys, keep in mind, attention deficit to me is probably more like a gift because it's usually a sign, and 90% of cases are linked to a higher level of intelligence or higher IQ. You're just thinking, man, you've thought it through, you're on to the next thing. It can be pretty annoying to work with, though.
It is, yeah. I would say the Lion's Mane. And Matt, do you still have the full the mushroom capsules?
Yeah, we've got the defense ones right now in stock. The other ones are out of stock.
So the Shaga, along with the Lion's Mane. I believe that has some of the cordyceps as well. So
where do we find that one, Matt? Do you know what heading it's under?
Go into the capsule area right there, and you'll see. Let's see. Yeah, it's the 8th item down, or no. It's
Focus, Energy,
bottom.
Memory, the CBD Gurus, Lion's Mane, the 60 capsules. Is that the one?
But you keep going down, and you get 30 counts
defense.
of the defense for $15. Yeah. So you either get 2 bottles of 15 or 1 bottle of 30. I think mostly we got bottles of 30 right now for sure. And that's the defense mushroom. That's 5 different mushrooms in there.
All right.
I like it. I use it.
I take
everything we got, but I do use that once in a while.
I take one at night every day.
Okay. And what was the question?
Yeah, right. All right, we're gonna definitely give you some of those.
I can't remember.
I
can't remember now.
Right. There's a lot of good stuff with the mushrooms and ADHD, overactive minds. And also, the anxiety and stress. But, the research is still super young. But I think what they are finding is that the research that is coming out is super, super helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Here's a good question.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish your line of thinking there, Matt.
I was going to say, anybody out there with kids with ADHD, that's where they're, if you ever have anybody in school tell you there's something wrong with your kid and they got that, just pretty much tell them to zip it and ignore it, because all the kids I knew that were that kind of thing when they were little, oh my God, they ended up being filthy rich because they just knock it out of the park as salespeople and everything else. You know, you were probably one when you were a kid, right? Weren't you, Lucas? And Mark? I don't know.
I was, yeah, definitely.
I grew up in the I grew up in the backwoods. They didn't really they didn't think that anyone was ADHD.
No, I mean,
when I grew up. But there were a lot of us that were, you know, and you know, they just you know, we just had to deal with it and you know, struggle in a lot of areas.
All right, see, my mother had this red belt, and she really just took the ADHD right out of me in school.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, that broomstick, man, it made you calm your mind down real quick in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the boys were naturally, and it's always the school teachers that tell them they got a problem or something. Somebody that wants you to sit still. Trust me, people weren't made to sit still. They were meant to move, you know? And when you move in, they think you got a problem, and you don't. Just rock and roll. Just keep moving.
Yeah, we keep trying
ADHD.
we keep trying to turn hunters into farmers. Instead of just understanding some people are hunters, some people are farmers. You know, it's just the way it is. All right, DJ asking, hey, have you ever considered a rub-on CBD stick instead of a roll-on?
So no, we're not, we haven't really done that. It's a whole different type of, you know, forming that you have to do. It's super difficult, unless you have like the machine to do it. We are going to do a thicker, like a balm, like a black. So this is one thing that we are going to probably do, Mark, soon is like a Miracle Gold balm. So
neat.
People, you know, people who like to put it on, we're actually going to make it into a, you know, super all natural, you know, kind of rub-on cream as well, so that you can keep your tincture for when you want to take it, and then, you know, have your balm for when you want to rub it on, you know, your eczema and some other things. I had really bad eczema on my head. When was it? Like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, almost 10 days ago. And within 2 days, you know, the pain went away. Like, I'd never had it before. I was like, what in the world is going on? It was super painful, Mark. And, you know, I'd never experienced anything like it before. And went to the doctor, like, yeah, like, here's this cream. And that was like, and I put the cream on for like 4 days. Nothing. Didn't do a darn thing. And that's when I was like, wait a minute. There's a lot of people in the Marcy community that puts the Miracle Gold on. So I started putting the Miracle Gold on, and like day and a half, and pain was gone. Everything was good to go.
Yeah, I love it.
So I was super, you know, and here's the thing. Without the Marcy community, I personally would have never known to do that.
I love the fact, I mean, these people are willing to experiment, see what works, what doesn't, and they share it with themselves. They share it here in chat. They share it with you guys, which helps, because then we're like, hey, we've got some people that tried this. Maybe you should try it and see if it works as well for you as it did for them. I love it, because it is, I mean, it's been such a suppressed field scientifically that we're just scratching the surface of what is possible or what works for what, based on the science.
Yeah, and in case anybody was wondering, the tincture is the bottle, because I heard you say you rubbed the new lotion on the tincture. Just so everybody knows, that's another bottle of CBD. So just in case you had somebody new out there wondering what your tincture was.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap you up.
I love my tincture.
I'm going to start wrapping you two up. Somebody did ask on the neuropathy thing again. We'll make that, we'll start. Make a note, guys. Neuropathy and the products is going to be the number one thing. The first thing we talk about tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Yep. Right.
I'll bring that up. And one thing that I can do is I'll also put in chat, Mark, if I can figure out your new, if you can send me a link.
I'll send you a link.
That way I can put it in chat. And that way they can see some of the studies as well that have gone on with neuropathy.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could.
That's also good. You know, you don't have to listen to us about it. Like we
follow the
want you
science.
to see these medical research studies that are not funded by big pharma. That's number one. You know, and actually, you know, kind of see the process that they underwent to get the result that they did. So yeah, we'll present that tomorrow morning. Actually, Matt will. I totally forgot. Because I'm flying back home for the death in the family.
Oh,
So,
that's right. Yeah.
Totally forgot about that. So I will prep Matt the
Well,
best I possibly can.
Lucas, you can always go ahead and send me the links and email them to me, so I already have them pulled up for folks, so that we don't, put as much pressure on Matt.
Yeah, I'll send you over the links. You can throw them up on the chat so people be able to kind of copy and paste and research themselves as well.
Perfect. We got it going on. All right, guys. Matt, Lucas, thank you, and Lucas, once again, prayers for you with your with the death in your family. Thinking about you. I know it's going to be a tough week.
Yeah, it will be. I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, thanks, Mark, and for having us on. And
hey, Matt.
Talk to you later.
Now, Matt.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the pillowcase that I was presented? Had to open last night on air.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
See, everybody's ahead of me on that one. So now everybody wants to know when they can get pajamas. So it's your job today to go find out.
There was an email sent to me late yesterday, and I got to go over there and give them something. But their main thing is they're working on it and they're trying to get a hold of me. That's cool. So that means they're getting it done. But I can't wait because it's going to be just. I can't wait to get my own pair. I'm probably going to wear them every night forever, and then get a pillowcase too. I mean, the pillowcase, honest to God. My wife would be, I don't know about, what? I am going to have one of those pillowcases. I'm going to get it for sure. But I don't know if it's going in our bed, truthfully. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what? It will. I don't care. My wife's cool. So you'll be there, and she'll have her head on one side, and my head will be on the other side, and we'll be turning and looking at your face at the same time. And then all of a sudden I'll stand up, and she'll see your face all over my pants and stuff. Good Lord. And then all of a sudden,
down a dark rabbit hole.
No, but then I'll hit the TV, and the YouTube will come on with you on there, Mark, and it'll be just crazy. And and then Lucas on there on the split screen, the Zoom, and it'll be just wild. And then,
God!
Hopefully, I think it don't take too many gummies, and I'll have to slide her a couple to get her in the mood for that deal, the whole deal there. So, hey, did you? No, I wasn't gonna. I can't say that. I started out the day fairly nice today, G-rated, and that's what I want to be.
All right, we're gonna stop it there before we break those rules.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us on, and thanks, Lucas. Take care, guys.
See you guys.
See you guys. Have a good day.
All right, let me hang up quickly. Zoe, it's the backup channel. It's you always have to be prepared. We have to behave right now. We should be back on the normal one towards the end of next week. They gave us a 1-week strike because I made the mistake of during the Trump indictment process. I made the mistake on March 31st of reading his response. I was reporting on it, and I read what he had said, and I guess that really offended them, and they took me down for what they considered election misinformation for reading what somebody else said and reporting on it. A factual representation called journalism, where I, simply responded, say, this is the statement that was made, and that counted. That was enough. All right, guys, see you this evening at 7 for those that can make it. Hopefully we'll get some news, and if not, we'll at least have some fun times together.